Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this evening session on the public speaking session for Master Student in International Affairs and Diplomacy. And this evening, we are going to do our icebreaker. An icebreaker is known as the first session where we tend to know our speakers and what they tend to understand regarding international affairs and diplomacy. And the theme for tonight's session, this evening session, is my global lens or global lens. And I'll be glad that I need everyone's cooperation and participation to make this session very interesting and educative at the same time. Without wasting our time, I would just like to explain to you how the session is going to go. The session has some part. The first part is to introduce our timekeeper that is going to explain to us what the role of the timekeeper is in this kind of session. Why the second part is the timekeeper is going to give the table to the moderator, and the moderator on the other hand, going to introduce each speakers. Let me move to Muhammad. So the moderator is going to introduce each speaker one after the others for them to deliver their speech. And after that one, we are going to have like 2 or 3 impromptu topics for other members in this session to attend to it and for us to learn and then have a discussion, professional discussion regarding these topics. And then at the end, we are going to give a summary. I'll call upon this timekeeper to give a summary of how best we use our time. And I'll also, as the moderator of the session tonight, I'm going to give a summary on how we can work best to make sure that this session go well as planned. Okay? Without wasting our time, I'll call upon Miss Josephine John as the timekeeper to introduce ourselves to the house as the timekeeper and our role to the house. Over to you.
Good day, distinguished colleagues. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, time they say it's money. So I'll be the timekeeper for today's session. As I said, my name is Josephine John. So I'll be for today's session that we'll be having. So I'll be telling each and every, I'll be telling the speakers, as Mr. Akanji earlier stated, we have the main speakers, then have impromptu speakers. The main speakers will have 4 minutes allocated to them to speak. So once it's time for you to start and you've taken like 3 minutes out of your time, I will lift the green. The green sign is to tell you that you've taken you've spent some time out of the allocated time given to you. The orange is to tell you to prepare to stop, while the red is to tell you that your time is up, you should stop. So you just have 4 minutes. While the impromptu speakers have 2 minutes, same thing to for them as well. I will lift up these things. Once it's time, you stop when you're asked to stop. And also, I'll come back at the end of each speaker's, or at the end of when all the speakers have finished speaking, I'll come back and give us analysis on how each speaker made use of their time, where we should improve, and how next to go about our next discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my timekeeper. As you said, the speakers have 4 minutes to speak, and she's going to show some sign. The 3 minutes, she's going to show a sign of green. 2 minutes, she's going to show a sign of on the orange. Why? When your time is up, she's going to show a sign of red, so that you know your time is up for you to run up your speech. Understand? So without wasting our time, I'll go straight to the first speaker of tonight, to this evening session. The first speaker of this evening session is, his name is Mr. Farouk Nano Bello, and is a development communication specialist and a PhD candidate in mass communication at Bayero University in Kano. And he has over 10 years working experience across health, education, and humanitarian programming, including USAID-funded initiative. His topic this evening is His topic for this evening session is My Global Lens, Global Policy Seen from Development Practice. I repeat, My Global Lens, Global Policy Seen from Development Practice. Over to you, Mr. Farouk Nanobelu. Is Mr. Farouk here?
Thank you very much, Mr. Azeez, Akanji.
Can you please
apologies, my network is quite... Okay, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I'm
actually
up your camera.
On transit. I just got to one of the states in Nigeria. I'm struggling. The network here is not really good. I don't know if you can hear me. See me clearly.
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Okay, we can see you now.
All right. So please pardon me. So I will just put off the video. All right. I'll put off the video so that the network can improve. That way I anticipate that the network will be better for the presentation. It's just going to be brief, indicated from the start. Let me just quickly turn on in front of the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start, sir.
So, good evening, everyone. For Mr. Azeez, once again, we thank you most sincerely for creating this opportunity for us to interact this evening. Like you stated, the title of my little speech is actually my lens, looking at it from political and development lens. Like you stated, my name is Baruch Bello. I hail from Kebbi State, Northwest Nigeria. Currently pursuing a PhD in mass communication at Bayero University, Kano, Northwest Nigeria. And of course, one of the members of the class of Masters in International Affairs and Diplomacy at the University area. And of course, like you mentioned, I have experience traversing academia and post development sector. I will just take to my presentation. When I look at global politics, I look at it not from speech or summit declaration. I begin with the consequences, not just the impact positively. My global lens has been shaped through development work, which of course involves community, public institutions, and donor-funded programs where global political decisions translate into local outcomes. From this vantage point, one reality is unmistakable. Global politics today is increasingly defined by present, withdrawal, and of course, who feels the space left behind, particularly in the case of recent withdrawal of the USID from the development space. The recent withdrawal and scaling back of USID engagement across parts of Africa is not merely an administrative adjustment, it is a political signal, and of course, this is something we cannot afford to take for granted. For decades, USID functioned not only as a development partner, but as an instrument of soft power. So, health, education, humanitarian programs have been the major target, but of course, there is subtle politics that is taking place, thereby influencing decisions and governance, in the African country. They have considered in shaping governance norms, accountability systems, and the delivery standards. It did not replace governments, but it stabilized fragile systems while attempting to transform them. From my experience working on USAID funded programs, the impact of withdrawal is already evident. We have witnessed programs being stalled, data and provision systems weakened, skilled professionals sparse, because more than ever we have seen thousands of medical doctors and nurses leaving this country to other countries in search of greener pastures. And of course, the government system that is already overstretched is not able to observe some of these responsibilities because there's no depth in terms of institutional predictable financing to sustain, this gap. Global politics often assume states have equal capacity. Development practice shows the opposite, however. Institutions vary widely in strength, and sudden withdrawal does not accelerate self-reliance. It creates instability, just as we have seen, particularly in the area of health, where USID is known to be funding programs targeted at addressing malnutrition and, of course, maternal and child mortality. My lens, my global lens also recognizes that withdrawal does not leave a vacuum for long. Other actors certainly will move in, often with different accountability expectations, alternative governance norms, and clear political interest. This is not a moral judgment. It is a strategic reality. Africa is not simply a development landscape. It is a geopolitical arena. Decisions taken in donor capital to shape influence and policy direction. And of course, service delivery across African states in general. Development assistance, whether acknowledged or not, is diplomacy in practice. From years of working across health, education, and humanitarian systems, I have learned that sustainability is not achieved through abrupt exits. It requires sequenced transitions where institutions are strengthened before support is reduced. However, what we have seen in terms of withdrawal of USID is it was just very abrupt and thereby creating so much impact across the globe. A global lens rejects two false assumptions that Africa must remain permanently aid dependent and that sudden donor withdrawal automatically produces sovereignty. True sovereignty is built through institutional continuity, predictable financing, and deliberate knowledge transfer, not physical stocks. When I assess global politics, I ask one question. Who bears the cost of global decisions? Too often, not policymakers, but frontline workers, communities, and fragile institutions. Our global lens is pragmatic, not ideological. Africa must build resilient systems, but global powers must engage responsibly because it is an interconnected world. Instability is never local for long. That is how I see global politics. That is my global lens. Thank you most sincerely for this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farouk Bello. He said his own global lens is about practical global politics, not idealist global politics. And as he said, global lens, according to him, have to be practical in nature so that African nations also should be able to exhibit themselves in the global politics. Thank you very much. We appreciate your speech. Please, before I call on the second speaker, I will employ every one of us to increase the volume of the phone or the laptop. If you are using the laptop, can you increase the volume so that people can hear? Because some people are sending a message that they can't hear you well. So please, can you increase the volume of your phone and be audible so that other people can hear? Thank you very much once again, Mr. Farouk. The next speaker we have here, she's a female and second or first female, which is the first speaker that will speak tonight. Her name is Miss Dorcas Emmanuel Akanji, and she's going to speak on the human security. Human security. You understand? The objective of our speech is, she wants to raise awareness about the importance of human security in our society because, the government pays more attention to the state or the border security, thereby paying less attention to the individual living in the state. You understand? That is, they pay more attention to the borders, but forgetting the individual living in the state. And sometimes it can create more problem in our society. So she wants to raise awareness on the human security. Over to you, Miss Dorcas Emmanuel Akanji.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you perfectly. You can start.
Okay. So I want us to imagine a country with the most missile defense system, a country with strong military power and also an impenetrable border. Also imagine that same country. In that country, a father cannot provide a clean water for his child, or a family is forced to flee because their farmlands have been turned to dust. Is that country truly secure? I guess our answers will be no. My name is Dorcas Emmanuel, and as a student of international affairs, I am fascinated by the concept of human security because that is an issue that affects us all as individuals and as groups. So, human security or security is not just the absence of war or the silence of guns. To me, in my own lens, security is the presence of human dignity. Security is the laughter on the faces of children that are well fed, children that are healthy, and children that are free. The traditional security focuses more on defending territories or borders, but human security focuses on defending the individual or people, because I don't think we can have a stable system that is built under unstable lives. So now let's see the definition of human security. The United Nations Development Program defined human security in two main freedoms. One, freedom from fear. Two, freedom from want. So let's start with freedom from fear. So this freedom from fear means protecting an individual from crisis, from conflicts, from war, from domestic violence or threats of violence, and all forms of harms. And when we go to freedom from want, that is ensuring that all basic needs of an individual is met. These basic needs are food, shelter, and healthcare. Let's use Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria is an example of significant human security challenges, yes, which includes conflict, displacement, and economic insecurity. The United Nations gave their own statistics. They said that over 2 million people only in the northeast of Nigeria are internally displaced. So it's not all about using a huge sum of money to buy ammunition that we'll end up not using. Instead of that, we should focus more and make human security our priority. So these are my recommendations to human security, like a lasting solution. The government should prioritize human security first, and they should invest in development. they should also promote social cohesion. And we as citizens of the country, we also have roles to play to gain this human security we're talking about. And our role, number one, is to promote peace, is to have tolerance, and also have understanding of each other. I think by doing that, we're going to achieve this human security. In conclusion, we must move forward. We must move towards a diplomacy that is not just about power, but about the people. The ultimate goal of all government officials or country as a whole or international bodies be the well-being of individuals. When we protect the most vulnerable people amongst us, we will build a foundation of peace that even the army cannot provide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dorcas, Emmanuel Akai, for this wonderful speech on the security. You see, today one of the topic that is happening in global politics nowadays is the security of life and property. Nations tend to have the best weapons, the best missiles, but they forget on how to protect the lives and property of people. To give an example, like over 2 million people in the northeastern part of Nigeria are faced. That's a visible example. Nigeria, as we're fighting for how to protect the sovereignty of our station, of our country, we forget on how to protect the life of people living in Nigeria. Once again, thank you very much for this wonderful match. At the end of this session, I'm going to give a review of all this very much once again. Now, the top speaker in our list is a well-known colleague, and his name is Mr. Azeez Alake, and his topic is titled Peacekeeping. Peacekeeping. Ms. Dorcas talking about human security. Mr. Sheyi wants to talk about peacekeeping. So peacekeeping, human security. So we are still in the line of peace, how to maintain peace in the society. So now, the objective of Mr. Sheyi's speech is to emphasize the role of individual and an organization in maintaining peace in our society. Understand? So if the government is trying to do the human security part, then human individuals living in the countries and the government or the organization also have a role to play in maintaining peace in the society. Over to you, Mr. Sheyi, for your speech.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Akanji. Thank you, our colleagues here present. Good afternoon once again. So I will be talking on peacekeeping, but before I delve into that particular subject matter, I need to establish the fact that we're in the world where no nation or no country can operate in isolation. So we relate with ourselves. When I say we now, I mean countries relate with one another. Individuals relate with one another. Groups relate with one another. So as a result of this, relationship, we cannot but experience what I will call conflict, violence, misunderstanding, social unrest, and all these things will definitely happen. Why? Because we are relating with ourselves. Because we have one thing or the other to do with ourselves. So now, what is peacekeeping? When we talk about peacekeeping, it has to do with maintaining peace and stability among, especially in areas where we have conflict or in zones affected by violence or social unrest. So that is just what peacekeeping is all about. And peacekeeping is very important. It's a mandate under the United Nations. Is what the United Nations takes so seriously, because if the world is in disarray, or if part of the world is immersed in violence, then the whole world is in trouble. So that is why the United Nations had this in its mandate. So it's a topic that is so germane, in the world or in the global politics. So, and I can cite some peacekeeping missions that have been controlled or being overseen by United Nations. We have the United Nations peacekeeping in Congo, if you could recall. We have United Nations peacekeeping mission in, I think, in South Sudan. We have the one in Liberia, even though that of Liberia was controlled by ECOWAS under ECOMOG. So, and some other missions like that. And I also need to state to us that peacekeeping mission has its own objectives. So what are these objectives? Is to ensure that one of the main objectives is to ensure that the civilians in that particular area where the violence is taking place or where there is social unrest are being protected. So they prioritize the civilians and also ensure that the institutions of states in that area is being protected. And we all know that whenever there is a conflict or a violence, humanitarian aids, the humanitarian aids, humanitarian organizations will come in to provide aids. So all the organizations or the people in charge of the peacekeeping will also ensure that the humanitarian aid is protected and it also gets to people that needs it. So these are some of the features of peacekeeping. And like I earlier mentioned, is a mandate under the United Nations. Even though now the roles of the United Nations has been undermined. We could recall that at Davos a couple of days ago, President Donald Trump launched a Board of Peace. Even though this Board of Peace was approved by the United Nations. Why did the United Nations approve Board of Peace? They approved it because it's like a plan for Gaza, so that there will be peace in Gaza. Like, there was a time they highlighted the 20 peace plan. So it's in line with the 20 peace plan of Gaza. But now Donald Trump has hijacked it, asking countries to bring, I think, $1 billion if you want to be a permanent member of Board of Peace. So it will be an interesting thing as we proceed to see if Board of Peace will undermine the United Nations. And a couple of days ago, the United Nations Secretary General was lamenting that there is no funds. So let's see how it goes. As we proceed, we will see how things will unfold. If Board of Peace will undermine, will undermine United Nations and will destroy United Nations. And if it won't, we will see. So thank you very much. My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seyalake, for this wonderful masterpiece. Peacekeeping as a mandate of the United Nations. Awesome. Because the life of people in a society where there is social unrest have to be protected. That is why peace is important in our society. So whether we want or we don't want, peace remains the first fundamental goal of any organization. Even if you are working in a company, if there is no peace in that company, you will not feel comfortable working in the company. Talking about a nation having social unrest. So peace is essential in their society. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Seyalake. Now, our first speaker tonight is Mr. Ali Wali, and he's going to talk about his global lens, the context, the connection, and the responsibility going with this global lens. The objective why he wants to discuss about this topic is to share how his experience have shaped an appreciation for understanding context, building rapport, and fostering human connection as an essential fundamental tool in international issues. Once again, I'll call upon Mr. Ali Wali to deliver his speech. Over to you, Mr. Ali Wali.
All right, thank you so much, Ambassador. Once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Ali Wali. It's an honor for me to participate in this session. As a background, my career began in banking and finance before I moved into public service. I've been working at the intersection of international cooperation and cross-border engagements. So through this journey, it's enabled me to develop a strong interest in how context and communication and human connection, how they shape outcomes in all interactions, and more so in international interactions. So this is actually the first time I'm participating in such a public speaking session. And because of that, that's why I decided to talk about something that I genuinely care about and I have a passion for. So what is this thing? As I said, it's the need to contextualize issues. Many a times when we talk about international issues, I hope I'm audible.
You are very audible.
All right. So a lot of times when we talk about international issues, we often focus on policies, agreements, paperwork. But over time, what I realized is that, it is not the things that are written on papers that shapes outcomes, but it is how well people understand each other. I've been in places where people from different cultures, systems, and expectations have had the need to work together. And one lesson that I've learned is that the same words or actions or intentions can mean very different things to people, depending on what is the context in which they are received. So in essence, context is not just the background information, it includes the environment that provides meaning to what we are trying to communicate. And if we don't understand the context, which can include the cultural issues, the institutional or historical issues, even well-intentioned efforts will end up leading to misunderstanding. And international engagements, misunderstandings are often more damaging than disagreement. So, as I have encountered repeatedly, I began to appreciate the importance of listening before responding, understanding how others see the world, what shapes their priorities, and within what constraints they are operating in. This helps by changing the quality of the engagement. Understandably, this may mean that there's slower conversations. It takes more time to have engagements, but also makes such conversations more productive. Now, beyond context, I've also come to value the role of rapport and human connection. International cooperation is often driven not only by technical competence, but it is sustained by trust. And people are more open to collaboration when they feel they are respected, they are heard, and they are understood. In many cases, progress begins not with, agreement or consensus. So when we are connected and we feel, at ease with the person we're engaging with. This has shaped my global lens, and as a result, I often now try to approach international issues with the awareness and clarity and sensitivity and respect as being things that are not optional, they are mandatory. Because they are essential, you have to establish rapport, which will create the space for you to engage in difficult conversations, which normally, international engagements normally come at an intersection where there's difficulty in some of the issues. And one needs to understand the context so that the conversations are meaningful. So for me, engaging with global issues is not just about having the knowledge or expertise, it's also about the responsibility the responsibility to communicate clearly, to listen carefully, and to recognize the human dimensions behind, the systems that you are interacting with. So this is the much I have. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share this perspective, and I sincerely appreciate everyone's time and attention. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Wali, for this wonderful speech. And if you mentioned something that catch my attention, the importance of listening before responding. And this is very important when we talk about international affairs or international relations. You must be able to master listening skills before you respond to people. Do not be fast in responding without listening attentively to what they are about to deliver to people. And it is not about mastering the policies or mastering the paperwork. It's about how you can interpret it and how you can understand the context of the rapport the person delivering these policies are delivering the policies. Thank you very much once again for this speech. I really appreciate your time. The next speaker in our list is I think we have 5 speakers. So we have Mr. Sunday Joseph Zamdayu is the 5th speaker in our list, and the topic he chose to speak on is understanding international trade, my global lens. That is international trade. How can we understand international trade, or how does he understand international trade? And the objective of the speech is to let us understand that how the world is economically connected, how we are connected economically in the world. So over to you, Mr. Joseph Sunday, for your speech. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Sunday Zamdayu. I'm talking about understanding international trade, my global lenses. What is international trade? International trade is the exchange of goods or services from one country, for example, Nigeria with Cameroon, or Nigeria with China, or Nigeria with India. So how do international trade affect us? As we have seen years back, that a crash in oil price can affect us in Nigeria. If war happens in Gaza today, in Iran or Iraq, it affects us directly or indirectly. So international trade is an economic activity that should not be taken lightly. International trade should be an activity or an issue that we should study, we should look closely into. Because if we don't look closely into it, it affects us in Nigeria. For example, the crisis happening in Ukraine and Russia also directly and indirectly affects the farmers, especially in Nigeria, because the prices of fertilizer has gone up. So international trade helps us to, as a nation, to grow, helps our economy to grow, help us to gain more employment, and also help us to cooperate with other nations or collaborate, because a nation alone cannot produce everything it needs. So when there is cooperation between you, or international trade between you, like in Nigeria and another nation, it even reduces conflict because there will be interdependence. And when a nation is depending on you, it knows that when conflict or if there's no peace is affected indirectly. So the nation will ensure that there is peace. And when we understand this international trade, that nations are interdependent, we will know that it will help us to even develop as a nation, and we'll become active participants in the global system. My key takeaway is when we understand how the world is economically connected, we are better prepared to make decisions as students, as professionals, as future leaders, present leaders, and serve both national and global interests. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Sunday, for this speech. When we know the importance of how the world is interconnected through trade, we will know how to peacefully cohabit together. Today, we are using mobile phone, and the mobile phone is not manufactured in Nigeria, and it's manufactured somewhere around the world, but we are using it. And this is because of international trade. So for the interconnectedness of this international trade is important to make sure that peace reign in the world. Thank you very much once again for this speech. The last speaker I have here in my list is a female. Yeah, the second female in this evening session. The first was Ms. Dorcas, while the second female is the last speaker we have here. Her name is Mufti Awa Mustafa. So she is going to talk about the impact of China-Africa gold supply, the impact of China and Africa gold supply chain on Africa influence on reconfiguration of global monetary power. That is, how China and Africa do business in terms of gold. Understand? So the objective of our speech is to assess the impact of China gold corridor on Africa position in global monetary system. If you recollect, recently, I think in January, China is trying to have a gold factory in Nigeria. They want to. It's still in line with the topics you want to discuss about. So over to you, Ms. Mufti Awal.
Thank you so much. I'm having a little bit of network fluctuation. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly.
Yes. My name is Hawa Mufti. I'm an architect that is working in the development space. I've just recently picked an interest in international affairs and diplomacy. And my topic for today is the impact of China-Africa gold supply chain on Africa's influence in the reconfiguration of global monetary power. So you might be wondering, what's up with this topic, right? So recently, China has launched the China Gold Corridor, which is a strategy that tries to link China to resource-rich countries, which most of them are in Africa. So it's very important for us to look at how this affects our position in global monetary power, because for a long time, Africa has been supplying resources to countries, but that has not reflected on our position in geopolitics globally. So what does even the reconfiguration of global monetary power means in this context? So post-World War II, the United States has largely dominated the international global monetary power because of the dollar dominance, supported by institutions such as IMF, World Bank, and SWIFT. But in recent geopolitical scenes, the tensions, sanction regimes, financial crisis, all of this has exposed vulnerabilities within the system, making states to lose confidence in dollars as a means of international trade. And also we saw that during the Russia-Ukraine war, because a lot of these states were storing their gold with the United States. So we saw how the United States froze Russia's gold reserves, which was under them. So which they were managing. So like a lot of states are now losing confidence and looking for a way out. So China positions itself with this its strategy to other states as a reliable alternative to Western dominance. So China being at the forefront of this shift through its bilateral trade, stronger engagement with the BRICS economy is kind of exposing the dollar-centric system. In this process, gold remains a central role because globally now gold is beginning to be more like a liquid currency. Gold offers the financial security, political neutrality, and insulation from sanctions. So this China's gold strategy is not merely China accumulating gold as a reserve asset. Rather, it is integrating gold into the broader network of extraction, transportation, refining, storage, etc. So like I said, the gold corridor links resource-rich countries and states like Africa to the global market through infrastructure investment, long-term contract arrangement that increasingly bypasses Western dominance. So Africa occupies a very crucial position in this strategy because you and I know that Africa is home to some of the world's largest deposits of gold, like places like Ghana, Burkina Faso, South Africa, even Nigeria is said to have gold. But Africa fits directly into this global supply chain that sustains China's reserve and accumulates financial ambitions. However, Africa in this process largely remains extractive, meaning that we do not export or give these people value-added gold. We don't take part in refining and storage, pricing. So Africa is just more like at the mining stage. That's where we stop. So most of this African gold that is being exported in raw or semi-processed forms limits our opportunities for value addition and strategic reserve accumulation. As a result, Africa contributes materially to configuration of global monetary power without the proportionate influence over it. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is, yes, this gold corridor is contributing to the broader configuration of global monetary power away from traditional Western dominance. African gold also plays a vital role in this transformation. However, the coordinated monetary diplomacy and the strategic reserve management, Africa risks reinforcing its historic stance in geopolitics as a resource supplier rather than emerging as an active shaper of global financial order. So ultimately, the question is not whether Africa has gold, but whether Africa can convert that gold into influence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The question is not about whether Africa has gold or whether Africa can use the gold they have in reserve. Thank you very much once again, Ms. Mufti Awa Mustafa, for this speech. You will notice that Africa is like on a top market, like for all the global powers in the world. Africa has the mineral resources, but how Africa is going to link these mineral resources, how we are going to use this mineral resources, especially gold, how we are going to use it by bypassing Western dominance, how we can link into the global market by bypassing Western dominance. Thank you very much for this speech. Tonight, as I said, we have our speakers, and she was the last speakers we have in this session. It's supposed to be 10 speakers, but unfortunately, some people were not prepared for it, so we have to short it to 6 speakers. Now, we'll move forward to the impromptu session. The impromptu session, I have 3 topics here, and I'll just mention the topics and call upon. I want to call upon Mr. Ejila Christopher. Yeah, Mr. Ejila Christ. I don't know whether he's here. Is he here? Okay, he's here. Yeah, I can see him. Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So I have a topic for you. So the topic I have here is should visa be free for African to all African nations?
Okay, if I get you very well.
As a Nigerian, so should visa be free for all African, that is moving of African to all African nations freely without visa?
Okay, thank you.
Do we need visa based on your own experience?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Ejila, and I'm charged with speaking on the topic of if visa should be free for all everyone. I don't know by everyone if you mean just by Nigerians or Africans as a whole to enter into the Western world. So, first of all, we are not just we are not new to the policy of visa and visa allocation by countries to third world countries of Africa. So, visa, from my own point of view on this topic, it is a permission, like a sticker note that grants you permission into another country, into the Western country mostly. Because if you check, there are some countries in even in Europe, I think, and mostly in Africa, that Nigerians or other Africans does not need visa to. But if you check it very well, some of these countries we would love to visit, the likes of Canada, the UK, the US. There are visa requirements for Africans and for Nigerians, and you must satisfy these requirements before you can be granted access into this country at a point of entry. So, from my point of view, if visa should be it should be necessary to as a criteria for an entry into other countries, I will say visa should not be a necessity, should not be a requirement for one to enter into another man's country. Judging from the past, during the pre-colonial era, Africa was, according to them, was discovered when they were living in a very worse and backward stage. So these people came into this country, into this continent without permission. So on our own, while in turn visiting them, if we should be liberal in carrying out our activities, if we are visiting this country because they came to visit us without permission, without a visa, I don't think we should need a visa to visit those countries. Most of our people live in Africa to all this Western world, they are going in search, though to a greater extent, some persons go in search of greener pastures. But I feel whatsoever you don't have at home here, you cannot have outside the house. So in my own context, I think visa should be free. So if I have a pure intent of entering any country, visa should be free. But judging from the hello, can anyone hear me?
We can hear you perfectly. I think he has a network problem. He has network problem. Mr. Chris, can you hear us? I think he has network problem.
Probably he's using a phone and a call came in.
No worry. Maybe he's having network problem. He's down now. Thank you very much. If in Mr. Chris' speech, his impromptu speech, you will notice that he said these white colonial masters, they came to Africa without permission. So why can't we as Africa go to their country without permission also? So to him, visa should be free. But in context, to me personally, I don't think visa should be free because of security reason. understand now? So because of security reason, we need to check out on people that are entering our country to know to know. As he mentioned, he said we need to know the intent of people entering the country. So maybe they are criminals from their country and they are fleeing their country to enter our country. So if visa is free, that means we are going to open doors for criminals or people with bad intentions. So that's, to me, according to me, it should not be free. But according to him, visa should be free. Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. Now, the next topic I have here, I don't know if anyone here is interested in taking over the topic. I have here Judith Rabo, I have Mr. Ibrahim Hamad Hawal, I have Asirat Ali Baba, Edith. So I want to give a topic here. The topic is, if you are opportune to be an ambassador, what will you do differently? If you are opportune to be an ambassador, what will you do differently? Anyone here to pick the topic? If you are opportune to be an ambassador, what will you do differently? Is there anyone here that can take up the topic? Let me call on Fatima. I have Miss Fatima Al-Hassan.
Okay, outside of us, the speakers, right?
Yeah, outside the speaker. Okay. So I want to ask me to repeat the topic. The topic is, if I am opportune to be an ambassador, what I will do differently.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Oh,
Yeah, good evening.
okay.
Who is speaking? Excuse me, who is speaking?
Judith Rabo.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. You can go on.
Okay. So, your question again, please.
If I'm opportune to be an ambassador, what I will do differently.
Okay, for me, sorry, my name is Judith Rabo. If I'm opportune to be an ambassador, what I would do differently. I don't know. Can you hear me, guys?
Perfectly.
Okay. I will narrow it down to where I'm coming from, which is Plateau State, because of the persistent and constant Fulani herdsmen attack in various villages and communities, affecting livelihoods and all that, and the farms. The first thing I will do as an ambassador, I'll try to put women security first. I'll prioritize protection of lives, livelihoods, and dignity over politics or ethnic interests. So I don't know, that's the little contribution I can say on that, on my own part.
Anyone to talk about this topic? Any of our speakers also, can any of our speakers also talk about it? I think somebody wanted to talk about it. Mr. Joseph, I think he wanted to talk about it. So
okay.
she said she will prioritize protection of life and property, security. Like she's going to focus on security, like protecting the life of people, like making policies focusing on protection of the life of property, life and property of people in the society, instead of prioritizing. That's what she said. So is there anyone to talk about this?
Okay, for me, what I'll do differently is, as an ambassador, that means I'm a representative of my nation. So what I'll advocate is, many a times, the youth are neglected in maybe politics or governance. So I'll advocate that youth be given opportunity to govern and also participate in politics. And I'll also go back to the curriculum in a way that from the primary school, the curriculum, the educational material or the educational method that is being consumed now is kind of outdated. So if there is a working system, especially in a developed country, we can emulate it. We must not invent new curriculums, but we can look at China. They have curriculum that is working. I think from age 3, age 5, you see a child in China can do great and wonderful things. So I'll go back to the grassroots, because if you can change the root, you can change the tree, the branch, the leaf, and everything. So, and also from that, because you cannot give somebody that does not know what he's doing leadership or governance or politics, you repeat the same old thing that is obtainable now. So, but when the knowledge our children are is the knowledge that is instilled into them, or the knowledge that is acquired or learned, when there's a difference, that means they are equipped even from primary school to be leaders, to be innovators, to be change agents, blah 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 blah. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I want to add to it is that you see that Miss Judith Rabo, in her own perspective, you see, she focused on individual perspective, while Mr. Joseph focused on the system level perspective. Individual perspective is in the essence that individual perspective of Miss Judith Rabo, in the essence that she said, coming from Jos. So, Mr. Ali wants to say something. Okay, Mr. Ali, you can talk before I talk. Don't worry. Mr. Ali Wali, you raise your hand.
No, please, after you finish, I'm just raising that. I want to also comment.
Okay. So you see that Miss Judith, she said she came from Jos, and her concern is security. She wants to focus on security. That's individual perspective. You know, in one of our courses, we say that public policies, international global system, we also look at the individual making the law or individual making the policy. And when we look at her, she focuses on the security of people in where she is. Understand? So in foreign policy analysis, when you want to analyze foreign policy, she's going to focus on security. But when Mr. Joseph, on the other hand, he said you want to focus on the system, that is the education of people in the society. Understand? That is his own interest is focusing on the system. Understand? So which means that being an ambassador or being a leader, circumstances will warrant you to take a decision based on what is happening to you. If Ms. Judith can say that she's going to focus on security, that is because of where she comes from. Why if Mr. Judith say, okay, he's going to focus on education, that's how he perceived the world. You understand? Thank you very much once again. Now over to you, Mr. Ali Wali. You want to say something?
Yeah, thank you so much for that, and it quite nicely ties in with what I wanted to say, in the sense that I think as an ambassador, one of the roles that one has to play is to understand the context of the relationship between your country and the country hosting you. So once you understand that, that will help you to even know what are the issues you are going to discuss, what are the issues you are going to promote. By knowing your own context in terms of Nigeria, where are our own pain points, what are the issues that our youth have, what are the security issues, then understanding how Nigeria relates with that other country. So it's contextual. You will not be able to relate the way you relate with Nigeria and Turkey. Is not the same way an ambassador is going to relate if he's sent to another country. So he has to understand what are the relationships underlying that engagement. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Thank you very much. On his own part, he said,
good evening, Mr. Akanji.
Yeah, you want to contribute? Okay.
Yes. Today unfortunately, my network is very poor and I've been on and off. In fact, I even missed some speakers, especially the Mrs. Mufti. I missed her own totally, and also the second speaker. If I understand you, you're talking about being an ambassador, what you can do differently. So to me, as in my own perspective, being an ambassador of a Nigeria to another country, that means you are representing the country over there. You have to protect the life and dignity of Nigerians residing where you are, where you're presenting the country. That means after taking the record, you have to go in depth of how your country people are residing there. If it's job, you know how they are relating. You protect their dignity in the kind of services they're providing. And also, for example, like this visit of the president to Turkey. Let's take an example of maybe you being an ambassador to Turkey. There are some bilateral agreements that the president signed. So I'll have to follow them bit by bit, breaking down and see how they go in aspect of technology, aspect of international trade, even if it's value addition to exports that the country will need. I think employment and various chains of trade will be established. So being an ambassador, you have to follow all these guidelines that you set for yourself, and at large, the country will be beneficial. In aspect of even this Japa syndrome, let it be dignified. You source for the real services that is needed with the correspondent one available, and also with the kind of value addition like in artificial intelligence and the rest. So being an ambassador, I think that's all I'll focus on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wali Ali, he said he's going to focus on the context. That is, you need to understand the country you are represent, the country you are going to. Which Mrs. Fatima Al Hassan said. So Tinubu went to Turkey, and being an ambassador, you need to understand the agreement there and how you can make sure that you can implement it by also making sure that you protect the life or the condition of Nigerians living in that country. You will notice that Saudi and Nigeria, in January, they signed a bilateral agreement, which is making labor easier. Who is this person? Which is like making labor easier for people. How do you call it? Nigerian living in Saudi, and also making labor easier. Like people from Nigeria going to Saudi Arabia for work, or people already in Saudi Arabia. So how to make their life better. Thank you very much once again, everyone, for this session. I think we are done with the major part of this session. But before I give my own comment, I don't know if my timekeeper is here. Is my timekeeper here? Yeah, is the timekeeper? She's not here.
Yes, please, I'm here.
Oh, okay, thank you very
I'm
much.
here.
Before we're done with this, before I give my comment, before we close this session, I'll call on my timekeeper, Miss Josephine John, to just give me a brief report on how best our speakers and how best we use our time in this session.
Okay, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all the speakers did great. Like, I've learned a lot. I've jotted a lot of things down, and it was a very interesting session. So for our first speaker, Mr. Farouk Bello, his topic was on my global lens. Though his introduction took much time, the facilitator has already introduced you. So it's important that you probably just give us your name and go straight to the point. But he did more introduction, and I think it's out of his time. And at a point we could not hear him probably. So that could be due to his network or something. So his network was quite bad, but his presentation was very interesting. So our second speaker was Mrs. Dorcas Akai. I don't know if it's a me.
How many minutes did he use?
Okay, he made use of I think 7 minutes. he was not conscious of time, and despite my notifications, he wasn't still conscious of it. So he used like 7 minutes instead of 4 minutes from the time allocated to him. Sorry, I don't know if it is Miss or Mrs. Dorcas Akai. She spoke on human security. She was very clear and outspoken, a very interesting topic there. She was time conscious. She spoke within the time 4 minutes allocated to her. So she was conscious of time. She was quite audible, and she took us through her topic very smoothly. Our third speaker, Mr. Sheyi Alake,
How many minutes
who
did she
spoke
use?
on. She used 4 minutes, the time allocated to her. She made use of 4 minutes. Mr. Sheyi Alake, who spoke on peacekeeping. He was clear, outspoken, and audible. He used all his time. He spoke within his time limit. Within the 4 minutes, he stopped at 4 minutes dot. So he was time conscious as well, and he was audible. Our fourth speaker, Mr. Aliyu Wali, he spoke on the topic understanding context. If I'm right, please.
Yeah.
Understanding context. He was clear and audible. I noted here that he got our calm attention. He had this calm attention that he got from everybody. Though he spoke above his allocated time, even though he was time conscious, he still spoke above the allocated time. He spoke for like 5 minutes. Though his message was passed, we got his message after the fact that he spoke above time, and I was sure he still had a lot to say. But then he got our attention. He was calm, quite well spoken, and he spoke for like 5 minutes. Then our fifth speaker is Mr. Joseph Sunday. His topic was understanding international trade. So I just said here that I'll call him a lecturer. He taught us very well. We
Yes.
understood. Yes,
Yeah,
he taught us very well. I'll call a lecturer. He taught us well, and he was very conscious of his time, and he was given 4 minutes, and he judiciously used the 4 minutes to give us his presentation. The sixth speaker, Mufti Hawa, if I'm correct, please. Mufti Hawa, she spoke on impact of China and African gold supply chain. Our speaker was audible. She got our attention based on our topic because she was talking about gold, it's money and all that. So she got all our attention. Though she spoke above the allocated time, she was not conscious of time. She spoke far above the time allocated to her, which was 4 minutes, but she spoke for like 7 to 8 minutes. So it is important that we are conscious of time. It helps us to, place whatever we want to do in a timely manner, speak in a timely manner. So she spoke for like 7 to 8 minutes above the time allocated to her. So that's for all our speakers.
Thank you very much. In global, in the impromptu speakers in global, they use like 2 minutes or above 2 minutes in global?
Okay, yes. For the impromptu speakers, I had Mr. Elijah Chris. He spoke on should visa be free to Africans in all African nations. Though he spoke within time, but his network was bad. Though he didn't give us he didn't say everything he wanted because his network was bad. Though he spoke within the time limit. And then we had Judith Rabo, which was straight to the point and time conscious as well. She spoke straight to the point and gave us her message. Then sorry, the last speaker, I didn't get your name, but she actually spoke above the time, which was meant to be 2 minutes.
The last
but she
speaker
spoke
was
above the time.
Hassan.
Yes. So though he was able to communicate his points properly, and we understood what he was saying, but then 2 minutes wasn't enough for him, so he spoke above time. So this is my timely report for the speakers and the impromptu speakers for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my timekeeper. I really appreciate. You see, time, they say it's morning. So which means that whenever you want to deliver a speech, either in office or in public spaces, you must find a way to manage your time judiciously. That is why we have a timekeeper here. So I want to add my own contribution before we end tonight's session. You see, public speaking is essential for everyone. Listen, especially for people that are aiming to be like at the forefront of decision making, be it in your office, being at home, be it in your community or in how do you call it, in politics. You must find a way to master public speaking, which is very essential. Listen, so one thing captured my attention among all the speakers. Listen, speaker two, when she was delivering her speech, speaker two, which is Mr. Kat, when she was delivering her speech, she entered the stage with a rhetorical question. I don't know whether you noticed. She entered the stage with a rhetorical question. That is, she asked us question. She said, imagine a country with the best security in the world, but people in the country are suffering. Listen, so before she introduced herself, she entered with a rhetorical question. This captured the intention of listeners. That what did she want to say? So in public speaking, you must find a way to capture your audience. Find a way to capture the attention of your audience. Listen, sometimes you go to an event and you see that when the speaker is giving a speech, everybody is just on his phone, pressing phone, because the speaker is not capturing the how do you call, the attention of the listener, the audience. So number one is very important. It's very, very important. And thank you very much for that. Like using a rhetorical question or using an introduction that capture the attention of your speaker. That's number one thing that is very important in public speaking. Number two, that we need to focus on is being audible. Is being audible. That is, we call it communication. Understand? Communication. As I'm speaking, you must be able to understand what I'm saying. Understand? If you are not audible, the listener or the audience will not be able to understand you. That's number two. Number three, using gesture to communicate what you want. Gesticulation. As you see my hand. I use my hand. I use my eyes. I use my mouth. You understand? So you must use your hand. You must gesticulate sometimes. You must let the speaker, the listener know. Sometimes the listener might be carried away, but the way you demonstrate your hand, call their attention to what is going on. And maybe they are not listening to you again, but by gesticulating, by using gesture to communicate what you want, it makes them to see, okay, let us listen to what this one is saying again. You understand now? That is very, very important also. And the fourth one that I'll put at number one is preparation. It's very important to prepare. It is very, very important to prepare ourselves before any speech. It's very, very important to prepare ourselves before any speech. That is, if you want to deliver a speech, you will want to present yourself as somebody that knows the subject you want to discuss about, and at the same time, you want them to take something away from your speech. So preparation is very important. I thank all of you, from our first speaker, Mr. Farouk Bello, to the last speaker. I have Mr. Farouk Bello, Mrs. Mrs. Dorcas. I have Mr. Sunday. I have Miss Mufti Hawau, and my last speaker here. So I thank every one of you for honoring this call. I understand it's not easy for me to call on all of you, and you all came here to deliver your speech. So once again, I thank you all for your time. And if you have any contribution, observation, suggestion, or any way you think that we can better this public speaking session we'll start today, if you know that you have any suggestion, please let me know before we end this session tonight. Thank you very much. Any suggestion, contribution, observation, addition? Suggestion, please.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you so much, Akanji. Thank you so much, the rest of the team members, for organizing this particular live session. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your efforts. What I wanted to suggest is perhaps, I don't know, maybe as next time, I don't know what we are going to be doing next time, but I think it will be good for us to have like an allocated time where participants share their feedback on each speaker's presentation. Not necessarily. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but can you repeat it? Like allocated time where?
Okay, I was saying perhaps next time when we are doing this, maybe the participants can have an allocated time where they share their feedback on the speeches or presentation of other presenters.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily about the topic or sharing additional insights, but on the delivery, how they were engaged and things like that, parameters that the speakers can be able to take back and improve their speaking proficiency.
Good. That is what you are suggesting is anything that maybe after Miss Dorcas finish her speech, another speaker will give his how do you call review of that speech, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you much. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much.
So any other suggestion or observation or contribution? Suggestion, observation, contribution. Okay. If there is no suggestion or observation,
I wanted to say something, sir.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Well, I was selected as one of the impromptu speakers, and I just wanted to suggest. Yeah, I know you selecting some of us as impromptu speakers, probably to test our ability to think on the spot and all. But this wonderful initiative that you've brought about, this public speaking initiative you brought about, I would want to suggest that you probably give the impromptu speakers like 10 to 15 possible topics that could come up. Probably 6 hours before the actual Zoom time. You would still achieve the thinking on the spot, but it will now come out with better clarity, and it will still help the speaker in the way, or it will still achieve the aim that you, the organizer, wants to achieve. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Is we should give like maybe 10 topic. The same day we want to have the session, we give 10 topic out.
Yeah. For the impromptu speakers. The impromptu speakers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not the same day, 6 hours to the time. That will still make them, that will still make them think on the spot. But it makes it better than on-screen thinking and just seeing the topic flash over and then,
Thank you very much for this suggestion. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. Any other suggestion or contribution, observation? Okay. If you don't have any contribution or suggestion, observation, we will call it a day. Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone for coming for this session. You see, I know it's not easy for all of you to come for join this session tonight, but I thank you all once again. And our next session, I believe, is going to be better than this, because this is our first session, and it was not bad. I would say it was not bad. It's our first session and it was not bad. So, but the mistake we make from this session is going to make us better for the next session. So next session is going to be communicated to us. It's going to be like twice in a month. So twice in a month. So, but we are going to communicate where the next session when be, and for the suggestion or the recommendation we all give, we are going to implement in the next session. The next one more professional, better. Thank you very much, and we'll call this day. Thank you very much. Have a good and wonderful night.
When is the next session?